ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world that celebrates self-promotion, a culture that often confuses confidence with arrogance, but there's a fine line between healthy self-esteem and the destructive force of narcissism. Today, I want to talk about how life and indeed God always intervenes in ways that bring balance, humility, and justice, especially to those who choose to elevate themselves at the expense of others. No matter how skillfully a narcissist crafts their facade, truth has an incredible way of surfacing. It's not always immediate, but it's inevitable. Like light piercing through darkness, God ensures that authenticity will triumph over pretense. There's a powerful verse that says, "Pride comes before a fall. It's not punishment, it's life's way of recalibrating arrogance into humility." God has a way of creating situations where the narcissist's inflated ego meets an undeniable truth they're not invincible. Narcissists thrive on silencing others, taking the spotlight for themselves. But God works behind the scenes, strengthening the oppressed. Slowly but surely, those who have been silenced find their voice, and when they speak, their truth is transformative. Narcissists often alienate those around them, leaving themselves surrounded by the emptiness of their own reflection. And in that isolation, God whispers truths they can no longer ignore. It's here that the seeds of self-awareness are often planted. The beauty of life is in its natural order. You reap what you sow. Narcissistic manipulation and deceit lead to mistrust and eventual isolation. It's not a punishment from God, but the natural outcome of choices made in opposition to love, respect, and integrity. Here's the most remarkable thing: God never gives up on anyone, not even the narcissist. There's always a door to redemption, to change, but it's up to them to walk through it, to confront their actions, and to rebuild what they've torn down. Friends, this isn't just about narcissists, it's about all of us. We all have moments of pride, selfishness, or insecurity. The question is, how do we respond when life holds a mirror to our flaws? Let's commit to choosing humility over arrogance, compassion over control, and truth over manipulation. Because in the end, God's plan isn't about punishment, it's about restoration for the narcissist, for the victim, and for the world. The balance of power is one of the most profound principles woven into the fabric of life. It's not something you always see or feel immediately, but it's always there, working quietly and consistently. Think about it, every action has a consequence. Every choice creates a ripple, and every imbalance eventually demands correction. When someone behaves narcissistically, seeking to dominate, control, or exploit others, they upset this delicate balance. They take more than they give, demand more than they offer, and focus solely on their gain, ignoring the cost to others. But here's the thing about the balance of power: it doesn't allow itself to remain disrupted forever. It might take time, sometimes longer than we'd like, but life has a way of evening the scales. God has built this principle into the very foundation of existence. You can see it in nature. Rivers carve their way through mountains, not through force, but persistence. The sun rises after every storm. The same is true with human relationships and behavior. For a narcissist, this rebalancing often comes in ways they least expect. Their actions create environments of mistrust, resistance, and eventually isolation. The power they thought they held begins to slip through their fingers. Relationships they've exploited start to collapse. The loyalty they demanded is replaced by doubt and distance. And as the scales tip back, they're left to face the consequences of their choices. But this isn't just about loss or downfall. The rebalancing is also an opportunity, a chance to recognize the harm caused and to make different choices. Life doesn't just seek balance for balance's sake, it seeks to restore harmony, to create conditions where growth, connection, and healing are possible. For the narcissist, this can be a pivotal moment, a chance to step away from the patterns that disrupted the balance and embrace a more authentic, compassionate way of living. The balance of power is a reminder to all of us, no matter how much we may try to control or manipulate the world around us, there's a greater order at work. And when we align ourselves with that order, when we act with integrity, humility, and love, we become part of the balance rather than the force disrupting it. Truth has a unique way of surfacing, even when it's buried under layers of deceit, manipulation, or half-truths. It's as though the very fabric of reality has a commitment to authenticity, a refusal to let lies thrive indefinitely. This is especially true when dealing with narcissistic behavior. A narcissist's power often lies in their ability to control narratives, craft illusions, and manipulate perceptions. They create a carefully curated image of themselves, one that demands admiration and shields them from accountability. But no illusion is permanent. The truth may remain hidden for a while, obscured by charm, fear, or confusion, but it never disappears. Like water finding its way through cracks in the heart of stone, truth is persistent. It emerges in the quiet moments when patterns become impossible to ignore, when inconsistencies start to align, and when the people around the narcissist begin to see through the veil. This process of revealing the truth is not accidental, it is purposeful. It is as if life, or perhaps a divine hand, orchestrates circumstances where masks slip, facades crumble, and the reality of a person's actions comes to light. It may happen through an unguarded comment, a series of events that no longer add up, or the courage of someone who decides to speak out. Whatever the catalyst, the result is the same. The narrative the narcissist so carefully constructed begins to unravel. For those who have been harmed or silenced by a narcissist, this unveiling of truth is often a moment of liberation. It validates their experiences, confirms their reality, and begins the process of justice and healing. But for the narcissist, the truth can be a profoundly humbling force. It holds up a mirror that cannot be avoided, reflecting back the consequences of their actions and the gap between their perceived self and their true self. The beauty of truth is that it doesn't just expose, it also invites. It invites understanding, accountability, and ultimately transformation. For the narcissist, this revelation is a chance to confront the reality of their choices and consider a different path. It is not an easy process. Facing the truth rarely is, but it is necessary because it breaks the cycle of deception and opens the door to growth. In the end, truth is not simply about punishment or exposure, it is about alignment. It is about bringing what is hidden into the light so that healing, restoration, and reconciliation can take place. The process may be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is always purposeful. Truth reveals not just to tear down, but to rebuild, offering everyone, narcissists included, a chance to begin anew. Humility is one of life's most powerful teachers, and it often arrives when we least expect it. For the narcissist, whose world revolves around self-importance and control, the process of being humbled can be profoundly transformative. It is not simply about being brought low or exposed, it is about being shown the limits of their power and the consequences of their actions. It is life's way, or perhaps God's way, of reminding them that they are part of something larger than themselves. This process often begins subtly. A narcissist, accustomed to admiration and control, might encounter a situation where their usual tactics fail. They might face resistance from someone who refuses to bend to their will, or a failure in a venture they believed was foolproof. These moments, small as they may seem, plant the seeds of doubt. They challenge the narcissist's carefully constructed image of invincibility. But the humbling process doesn't stop there. It grows, sometimes gradually, sometimes suddenly, as the weight of their actions catches up with them. Relationships they once manipulated may begin to deteriorate. Trust they took for granted may erode. The very people they depended on for validation may withdraw, leaving them to face the void they've created. In these moments of isolation, the narcissist is forced to confront a reality they've long avoided. They are not above the natural laws of accountability and connection. This process is not meant to be punitive. Rather, it is an invitation to self-awareness and growth. To be humbled is to be reminded of one's humanity, to see clearly the ways in which ego and pride have led to harm. For the narcissist, it can be a moment of profound clarity, a chance to step outside the illusion of superiority and see themselves as they truly are. Of course, humility is not always embraced willingly. It can be resisted, fought against, even denied. But life has a way of persisting. The more a narcissist resists humility, the more circumstances seem to align to ensure they cannot ignore it. This might come in the form of a public failure, a loss of influence, or an undeniable moment of vulnerability. These experiences, though painful, serve a purpose. They strip away pretense and force the narcissist to grapple with the truth of their actions and their place in the world. And yet, within the humbling process lies immense potential. It is in these moments of vulnerability that change becomes possible. When the narcissist is no longer shielded by their ego, they have the opportunity to rebuild not as the person they thought they needed to be, but as the person they truly are. Humility is not about diminishing oneself, it is about finding strength and authenticity, about embracing the interconnectedness of life, and about learning to value others as much as oneself. The humbling process is a gift, though it may not feel like one. It is life's way of guiding us back to balance, back to truth, and back to our best selves. For the narcissist, it is a chance to let go of the need for control and step into the freedom of genuine connection and growth. It is not easy, but it is necessary, and it is always worth it. When someone falls victim to a narcissist, the experience can leave them feeling voiceless, powerless, and deeply diminished. Narcissists often thrive on control and manipulation, creating environments where their needs, desires, and perceptions dominate. In such spaces, victims may feel as though their value has been stripped away, their truth silenced, and their worth tied to how well they serve the narcissist narrative. But while this may seem insurmountable, there is a powerful, often divine, process at work, one that empowers victims and restores their strength in ways they might not expect. The first step in empowering victims often begins with clarity. When truth starts to emerge, the fog of manipulation begins to lift. For many victims, this is a moment of profound realization they were not at fault, their feelings were valid, and the behavior they endured was neither normal nor acceptable. This awareness can be painful, as it often requires acknowledging the depth of harm inflicted. Yet, it is also the foundation of empowerment. It's in these moments that victims begin to reclaim their voice and their perspective. Another key aspect of empowerment is the recognition that the experience, as painful as it may have been, does not define the victim. Many find meaning and purpose in their journey, whether by helping others who are in similar situations, pursuing passions they had set aside, or simply embracing the freedom to be themselves. This transformation is often deeply spiritual or personal. It reflects the idea that while harm may have been inflicted, it cannot ultimately destroy the core of who they are. For many, this empowerment feels guided by a higher force, a sense that God or the universe is working on their behalf to restore what was lost. This might be seen in the unexpected arrival of supportive people, the courage to leave toxic environments, or the strength to rebuild a life rooted in self-respect and authenticity. It's as if life itself conspires to lift up those who have been wronged, ensuring that justice and healing are not just possibilities but promises. Empowering victims is not just about recovery, it's about transformation. It's about helping individuals move from a place of pain and disempowerment to a place of strength, dignity, and hope. It's about restoring their sense of self and reminding them that no matter what they've endured, they are more than their experiences. It's about turning the narrative of harm into one of resilience and renewal, ensuring that the scars left by the narcissist become symbols of survival and strength, not defeat. In this empowerment, victims not only find healing, but often discover a depth of strength and purpose they never knew they possessed. Natural consequences are an inherent part of the fabric of life, an unspoken law that governs the way the world operates. Unlike punitive measures imposed from the outside, these consequences arise naturally from our choices and actions, often without any need for external interference. For the narcissist, whose behavior is frequently self-serving and manipulative, these natural consequences serve as a powerful force of correction, one that can't be avoided or outrun, no matter how much they try to control the narrative around them. At first, these consequences may seem subtle, almost imperceptible. The narcissist might not immediately recognize the effect of their actions on others, or they may dismiss it altogether. They might continue to exploit, deceive, and demand, convinced that their power and control are unshakable. But over time, the effects of their behavior begin to unfold, and what once seemed like an unbreakable facades to crack. Relationships, once built on a foundation of manipulation and false promises, begin to erode. People begin to pull away, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. The trust that the narcissist relied upon starts to disintegrate, and the admiration they sought so desperately turns into suspicion and resentment. The beauty of natural consequences lies in their inevitability. A narcissist might be able to manipulate a person into staying by their side or convince others that they are deserving of admiration. But eventually, the truth of their actions catches up. People grow weary of being used. They tire of constant emotional exploitation. And even the narcissist, no matter how skilled they are in twisting reality, cannot force others to remain indefinitely in an environment of constant control. These relationships naturally wither away, and the narcissist finds themselves increasingly isolated. It's not punishment, it's simply the outcome of their behavior, the natural result of seeking to take without giving, to control without caring. Beyond the erosion of relationships, other natural consequences also emerge. Narcissists may find that their professional or social standing is jeopardized by their self-centered behavior. Colleagues, friends, and family begin to see through the facade-centered behavior. Colleagues, friends, and family begin to see through the facade, and so the narcissist's influence wanes. Even in environments where they once held power, cracks appear in their reputation and others begin to withdraw their support. What was once a position of dominance becomes one of exposure and vulnerability. The narcissist might try to project the same air of confidence, but it becomes increasingly hollow, because the truth, like water, finds its way through every crack. In their isolation, they may also experience a deep sense of loneliness, a byproduct of their own choices. The people they manipulated and hurt might not always be present to witness their downfall, but the void they left behind is unmistakable. And even if the narcissist tries to fill this void with superficial relationships or distractions, it's often too late. The people they needed to sustain their image and support their egos are no longer there. In this space, they face themselves, stripped of the facades and the adulation they once took for granted. It is here, in this space of vulnerability, that the natural consequences of their behavior can lead to reflection, and if they choose to embrace it, transformation. These natural consequences are not necessarily designed to break the narcissist. They are simply a reflection of the truth, the result of actions taken without regard for the impact on others. They are life's way of bringing things back into balance, not through force or punishment, but through the natural laws that govern human connection. When someone acts with integrity, respect, and compassion, the world tends to respond in kind. But when someone exploits, manipulates, and controls, the natural consequence is that they will ultimately find themselves isolated and estranged from the very people they sought to control. For the narcissist, the experience of facing these natural consequences can be painful, but it is also a chance to recalibrate. It is a chance to reflect on the choices that led to their downfall and to confront the reality of their actions. This is not an easy process. It requires a deep level of introspection and humility, which can be challenging for someone whose whole identity has been built on self-aggrandizement and control. But even within this pain, there is the opportunity for growth and transformation. If they are willing to confront the truth of their own behavior, the natural consequences can become a catalyst for change and invitation to shed old patterns and rebuild with a sense of authenticity and respect for others. In the end, the natural consequences are not simply a correction of wrongs, but a means of restoring balance, allowing for healing, growth, and, if chosen, redemption. Redemption is one of the most powerful and profound gifts that life offers. It is the opportunity to transform, to evolve, and to step away from the destructive patterns that once defined us. For the narcissist, this opportunity may seem far out of reach, especially when they are deeply entrenched in self-centered behaviors and have caused harm to others. Yet, regardless of how far someone has fallen or how lost they may feel, the possibility of redemption remains a door that is always open, waiting to be walked through if they are willing to take that first step. The journey toward redemption begins with awareness, the recognition that change is not only possible but necessary. This can be a difficult realization for the narcissist, as it requires an honest confrontation with the truth of their behavior, the pain they have caused, and the damage done to their relationships. For someone who has long seen themselves as superior or entitled, this can feel like an overwhelming blow to their ego. Yet, it is precisely in this moment of humility that the seeds of change are planted. Awareness is the first crack in the armor that shields them from the truth. And it is from this crack that the light of transformation can begin to shine. True redemption is not about seeking forgiveness or sympathy from others. It's about genuine self-reflection and a willingness to make amends. It is an internal process that requires the narcissist to confront not just their actions, but their motivations, why they sought control, why they craved admiration, and why they hurt others to fulfill their own needs. This level of introspection is difficult, often painful, but it is the key to unlocking a more authentic way of living. When the narcissist is able to see the damage their behavior has caused, both to themselves and others, they are faced with a choice to continue down the same path or to seek a new direction. Redemption is also about change, and change is never instantaneous. It is a process, sometimes slow, sometimes challenging, but always transformative. For the narcissist, this means learning to let go of the need for constant validation, control, and manipulation. It means shifting from a mindset of taking to one of giving, from exploiting others to building healthy, mutually respectful relationships. It is about learning the value of humility, of empathy, and of understanding the needs and feelings of others. This shift is not easy, but it is essential for true redemption. One of the most powerful aspects of redemption is that it is not about erasing the past or pretending that the damage never occurred. Redemption is about learning from the past, understanding its lessons, and using those lessons to build a better future. It is about taking responsibility for one's actions and making efforts to right the wrongs that have been done. While the narcissist may never be able to undo the harm they have caused, they can choose to stop perpetuating it, and they can strive to create new, healthier patterns in their relationships and their interactions with the world. This opportunity for redemption is also deeply tied to grace, a recognition that no one is beyond hope, no one is beyond repair. No matter how deeply someone has fallen, there is always a chance for transformation, for renewal, for becoming the person they were always meant to be. It is in this grace that the narcissist can find the strength to move beyond their old ways. God or the universe may guide them back to the right path, offering the forgiveness and the space for growth that they need to heal and rebuild. But the choice to accept this opportunity lies with them. The journey to redemption is also not a solitary one. Along the way, the narcissist may find help and support from those they've hurt, from those who believe in their potential for change. They may also find that the relationships they have built can be mended, not necessarily in the same way they were before, but in a healthier, more authentic form. It is through acts of genuine selflessness, through reparations, through seeking forgiveness, and by living a life that reflects their transformation, that the narcissist can begin to rebuild trust and restore what was once broken. But redemption is not just about repairing relationships with others. It is about restoring one's relationship with oneself. It is about learning to live authentically, to accept responsibility, and to find peace with the person they have become. It is an internal reconciliation where the narcissist moves from a place of ego-driven self-importance to a place of inner peace and humility. In this new space, they can rediscover a sense of purpose, of belonging, and of deep, authentic connection with others. In the end, redemption is not about perfection, nor is it about erasing all the scars of the past. It is about learning, growing, and choosing to move forward in a way that honors both oneself and others. The opportunity is always there, no matter how far someone has strayed. It is a gift, a possibility that is woven into the very fabric of life, and it is always available for those who are willing to take the journey. For the narcissist, redemption is not just a chance for personal transformation, it is an opportunity for renewal, for healing, and for the restoration of balance, truth, and love. In conclusion, the journey through the narcissist path marked by manipulation, control, and self-centered behavior is never without consequence. Yet within every moment of suffering, every broken relationship, and every hard-earned lesson lies the opportunity for redemption. The natural forces of truth, humility, and grace are at work, guiding the narcissist toward a potential transformation that allows them to break free from destructive patterns and emerge as a more authentic, empathetic individual. For those affected, the empowerment of victims and the eventual rebalancing of power offer the promise that no harm goes unnoticed and no person is beyond hope. Redemption is not about erasing the past, but about acknowledging it, learning from it, and choosing a path forward that restores balance, fosters genuine connections, and ultimately leads to healing and renewal. In the end, the opportunity for redemption remains a constant truth no matter how far one has fallen, no matter the depth of harm caused, the chance to rebuild, to restore, and to transform is always there. It is a reminder that in the face of pain, there is possibility. In the midst of brokenness, there is hope. And for all of us, it is a call to act with integrity, to embrace humility, and to create a future that is rooted in truth, compassion, and the power of genuine connection.